Dale said that you hit, I don't know, maybe 100?
95 indicated with these tires on there, a little over 100 some odd. Alright, get louder.
Hit it! Go, go, go!
Yeah! I think you all can make it through the rest of them. Please don't get stuck in the rest of them.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that you really enjoy doing this and you want us to go get stuck again. All right, we're gonna go do that again. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Bad Ideas Garage. My name is Steven and this is Dale's 2001 ML320 that is finally getting retired. It's probably going home to a new owner tonight. So I thought I'd finally make a video specifically to the ML320 because honestly, this thing has been an absolute rock star. If you've seen our videos on the Gambler 500, this has been the vehicle that has pulled people out. It's pulled me out several times. It's done the Gambler all the way out to far eastern Oregon. This thing has been absolutely everywhere, but it's finally time for it to get retired. So this is a video about our ML320 that has been an absolute rock star that's pretty decently modified, but it's Gambler tested and it's going home to a new owner tonight.
Surprise!
So you can see that this is pretty modified. The bumper is no longer there and there's a custom bumper here. Right in the front, we had a Harbor Freight winch that would frequently pull people out from the front. Dale put electrical up there and he also, really awesome, he had it back here as well. And so it was really easy for us to be able to put on the winch and pull people out. And again, he pulled me out in my little Subaru countless amounts of times.
That wasn't well welded in. So.
That was there, and that's now there. Winch time. Wow. What a hole. I mean, these shocks are new. At one point, he had F-150 shock switchers here, which was really cool. It's pretty funny. These were constantly used as rock sliders, even though that was not the original intention. But you can see that it's definitely had all of the love. All of the love. Let's go ahead. Go. Right there, of course. Right there. Honestly, that's hell for the entire time that we've had it. That's definitely JB Well. Originally, when we got the car, I should say originally when Dale got this car, the ABS pump had been burned out and the brakes were really, really low, which probably caused the ABS pump to burn out. And he replaced that by just replacing the brushes in the motor, and that's worked. This thing has just been absolutely incredible, all the adventures that we've gone through. This is the German word for low range, which is fun. So back here, I mean, he slept back here many times, and you can see that it's very well worn. I mean, it's been the Gambler 500 rig, and sleeping back here, there's a ton of space that's back here. Oh my, okay. Let's go ahead and get into the interior. Let's go ahead and do a start up. There we go. Yeah, so this probably has a little bit of exhaust leak. So yeah, I think we should just let's go and drive. So in the interior, you know, the ML320 was meant to be a luxury SUV on par with the BMW X5 at the time. And now looking at this now, a lot of these features is what you'd get in a regular vehicle. But back then, this was quite the nice vehicle. And so I think that this one is actually built in the USA. I'm gonna actually check that. Yep. This one's built in Alabama. They sold a lot of these. The funny thing is, there's this like very prominent low range button that's right here. And I highly doubt that anyone ever really pressed it. A lot of these were suburban, you know, families that would be buying these to get the kids around. Some of these actually had a third row that you could get, which was pretty wild. And I've driven this car across the pass before and it does drive really nicely. I've actually driven this in a couple of different iterations. And now, you know, that it's lifted up and it's got these big, massive tires, it doesn't drive nearly as nicely as it was from the factory. But I just get a kick that like this car coming from the factory, there's no way that this car would spend so much time in low range. And this vehicle spent so much time in low range, and the low range in this thing was just phenomenal. Dale would always just pop it into low range and it would just go. But it's always great because we'd be in the middle of nowhere and I'd be sweating to death in my Subaru or in the Mercedes when my Mercedes when I took it. And this car, the AC was always working, and Dale was always just, you know, having a blast, really enjoying himself in this. And it's just kind of weird that this car was really never, I mean, it was built for it because it obviously has a low range, but it was really, people would not really actually take these off-roading. All right, so up here up front, you have a lot of standard Mercedes stuff that you would get. You know, you have your wiper stock right here, of course. You have your cruise control, which I'm pretty sure still works. This is for your headlights. Is right here. I like that it has a cup holder right here. Very standard Mercedes gauge pack that you would get. This has a hilariously old navigation system on this, and part of the old phone system, which I don't really think exists in this phone anymore. But there's that low range, which is just right there, prominent, very easy. It's all-wheel drive otherwise, and you press that, it goes in the four-wheel drive. You know, a lot of standard stuff, recirc, air conditioning, rear windshield wiper, and then, of course, Mercedes has all of their window controls that are just right here. You have a couple of cubby storage. Of course, this is, you know, let's see if I can get this open and closed. Here it goes. Yeah, so he left his radio. There's the whip antenna out there. And then these seats, most Mercedes have like the seat controls over here. This one actually has the seat controls. They're down here. They're power seats. The power seats work. The only thing that I think that doesn't work is the fuel gauge. I think is a little, it kind of does its own little thing, which is fun. It's got, you know, power door locks and power mirrors, what you would kind of expect. You know, a little bit of paperwork back there. It's got a sunroof. So, I mean, honestly, this was a pretty nice ride. And again, it's been an absolute champ. So, let's go ahead and, I'm going to go on a drive, and then, we're going to finish the movie and we're going to say goodbye to our ML320. Last time I drove this, I mean, you do feel in a lifted vehicle. I mean, y'all are gonna laugh at me, but I don't drive lifted vehicles. I drive now it's a Mazda CX-5 junkyard special. I'll do a video on that coming up. But I don't drive lifted vehicles, so for me, it's very odd to kind of be up, large, and in charge. We're gonna go on a short loop. This is one of the most peaceful places that I've ever been. It allows us to get up to you know, highway speed in Oregon, 55 miles an hour, everything. Gosh, I just... There we go. It is very smooth and very civilized. But those tires make a lot of noise. I also forgot that when I did my video, so I filmed it a little bit earlier, and said I'm only doing 35 miles an hour, but I also forgot that I'm on massive tires. So I'm gonna look on my GPS to see how fast I'm actually going. Okay, so I'm actually doing 45 miles an hour. Okay, so it's not that bad. It's not that far off. I'm about 5 miles an hour faster than what's indicated. But oh boy, I just I really got to put my foot into this, but what do you expect? And Dale's selling it for $1,500, and for how much effort has been put into this vehicle, it is a turnkey off-road special that you can get for $1,500. I honestly think that that's a really good idea, even though it's had a very hard life for the last little bit. I think it's a good deal for what you're getting. Then again, I'm biased, and I think that Dale kind of knows everything. But I'm cruising down the road. Now I'm doing, you know, 50, 55, and it's super controllable, and it just works. I mean, if you got rid of the tires and actually wanted to like drive those drivers, you probably could. I'm going to take a turn, and I'm going to see if I can do this without having the camera fall over. We'll see. Nice and smooth. Coming out of that turn, it is a lot of effort to keep going. I don't know. So I think the point of this whole video is that Mercedes made this vehicle with a low range, and if you're looking for something kind of surprising or maybe a little bit different, these are not as popular as they once were. I mean, every once in a while you see them pop up for really, really inexpensive, but I'm not really seeing a lot of them anymore. But if you're looking for something that's kind of a little bit more surprising, a little bit more different, and you're willing to do, get to know Mercedes a little bit, this is a really good option. Especially if you could find one of these with the V8. So they made the ML430 and the ML500. You're gonna probably spend a couple $1,000s for those, honestly. But those are really nice vehicles, whether you want to do an Overlander off-roader like this, or maybe if you want to just maybe daily drive one. For a while I was actually looking for one for myself. They also made this as an ML55 AMG. They're not necessarily expensive. Some of them have a lot of miles on them. But ML55 AMG, that would be a pretty fun vehicle. And some people might really not like to say this, but I think that as an Overlander would be actually quite fun. The early versions of this, like 98 to 2000, were pretty Spartan. Not like the plastics and the materials were not nearly as good as they were in about 2000. This is a 2001. They started to become a lot more luxurious, and they made this until 2005, pretty sure. And they just made millions of them, and you can find them on Facebook Marketplace pretty regularly here in Oregon. It's not quite as frequently as they used to be. A lot of ML320s you can find for pretty cheap. If you can find the V8 though, that's the one that I would go for. So some people kind of see Mercedes stuff and they kind of get scared. I mean, we are Mercedes people. Dale primarily is the one that really knows these things. And if you kind of start to learn your way around them, it's really not that difficult, and it's really logical. There's a couple of specialty tools that you need. So for example, on my Mercedes, we had to have a special tool to take off the crank pulley to be able to replace that was kind of wobbling. The harmonic balancer was kind of wobbling. There is a special tool to be able to pop off the spark plug wires. It's things like that. But the rest of this is really not that complicated. You might need to get a more advanced code reader to read the codes in these because they are pretty advanced. However, I have a Bluetooth code reader that was like, I don't know, it's like $100, so it's one on the higher end. And it's able to read a lot of things in my Mercedes whenever I need help on it. So for example, there's part of the evap valve that is not closing properly, and I'm able to see that particular code, the Mercedes code, so I can go look that up, for example. So you don't really need to be afraid of Mercedes stuff. And honestly, this era of Mercedes coming out of like the late 90s and into the early 2000s, a lot of parts were shared between everything. So even though that this is an ML320, I have a C43 AMG, they use the same transmission. There's a couple of differences, of course, in terms of like the transmission, like shifting and stuff like that. Like mine has the winter mode and the sport mode or summer mode, and this one has the actual shifting that you can do. It's things like that. But once you learn how to drop the pan and be able to replace the filter, maybe do things like replace the conductor plate, once you learn how to do that, it's really not that difficult. So I guess the conclusion about all of this is thank you to this ML320 and the people in Alabama who put it together. They did a very good job, and this thing has been alarmingly reliable and an incredible gambler. And if you are looking for something a little bit different, maybe try to find one of these. Could be kind of fun. All right, we're gonna give one more acceleration go, one more time as kind of a last hurrah for this. Again, it has 210,000 miles on it. It's got massive 35s on it. So we're gonna actually floor it this time. There we go. Turn out. Don't do any scoops. All right, flooring it. like 0 to 45.
Overlander. It's been alarmingly reliable. And if you're looking for something that's kind of fun, maybe a little bit different to do overlanding, it's not a bad idea, especially if you're willing to learn a little bit about Mercedes about this. It's not a bad idea, especially if you're willing to learn a little bit about Mercedes about this era. So we want to say thanks to this ML320, and also thanks for watching. We produce content almost daily on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, so make sure and follow us on all of those different platforms. I would really appreciate it. We got a lot going on in the Bad Ideas Garage. Dale's going to be talking about his Jeep that he got to replace this and his other ML that's over there. I am getting a Dodge Daytona Shelby Z, so you'll have to see what that looks like coming up in our videos. Also over there, you can maybe see my junkyard special Mazda CX-5 that eBay helped me rebuild after my wife had an unintended off-road experience in it, so that was a little bit fun. And now it's my daily driver. Oh gosh, I think I'm getting a Mitsubishi Endeavor coming up kind of randomly, so we got a lot of stuff going on in the Bad Ideas Garage. Like and subscribe below. We appreciate the follows, and we'll catch you later.